We now have a question object inside our controller, and at the bottom, we render a template. What we need to do is pass that question object into the template and use it on the page to print the name and other info. Remove the DD, leave the answers. We'll keep those hard-coded for now because we don't have an answer entity yet, and get rid of the hard-coded question and question text. Instead, pass a question variable to Twig set to the question object. Let's go find the template. Templates question show.html.twig. The question variable is no longer a string. It's now an object. So, how do we render an object? Because the question class has a name property, we can say question.name. It even autocompletes it for me. That doesn't always work in Twig, but it's nice when it does. Below, here's another one, question.name, and question text is now question.question. I think that's it. Testing time. Move over, go back to the real question slug, and there it is. We have a real name and real question text. This date is still hard-coded, but we'll fix that soon. Now, some of you might be thinking, how the heck did that work? We said question.name, which makes it look like it's reading the name property. But if you look at the name property inside of the question entity, it's private. That means we can't access the name property directly. What's going on? We are witnessing some Twig magic. In reality, when we say question.name, Twig first does look to see if the name property exists and is public. If it were public, Twig would use it. But since it's not, Twig then tries to call a getName method. Yep, we write question.name, but behind the scenes, Twig is smart enough to call getName. I love this. It means you can run around saying question.name in your template and not really worry about whether there's a getter method or not. It's especially friendly to non-PHP front-end devs. If you wanted to actually call a method, like getName, that is allowed, but it's usually not necessary. The one thing that we did lose is that, originally, the question text was being parsed through Markdown. We can fix that really easily by using the parse Markdown filter that we created in the last tutorial. Refresh, and it works. You may not have noticed, but near the middle of the Web Debug toolbar, there's a little database icon that says One Database Query. And we can click the icon to jump into the profiler and see the exact query. If this page made multiple queries, you would see all of them here. If you ever want to debug a query directly, click View Runnable Query to get a version that you can copy. Now, here's a challenge. How could we see the insert query that's made when we go to /questions/new? This did just make that query, but because we're not rendering HTML, this doesn't have a Web Debug toolbar. The same problem happens whenever you make an AJAX call. So, are we out of luck? Nah, we can use a trick. Go to /_profiler to find a list of the most recent requests we've made. Here's the one we just made to /questions/new. Click the little token string on the right to jump into the full profiler for that request. Go to the Doctrine tab and bam! Cool! It even wraps the insert in a transaction. Remember this trick the next time you want to see database queries, a rendered version of an error, or something else for an AJAX request. Go back a few times to the question show page. The last piece of question data that's hard-coded is this asked 10 minutes ago text. Search for it in the template. There it is, line 18. Let's make this dynamic, but not just by printing some boring date like July 10th at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. Yuck. Let's print a much friendlier 10 minutes ago type of message next.